Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. We're back together again. I like recording together better.
It depends, just because, the kids and stuff.
I know.
Sometimes it's like...
I mean, obviously, it's more convenient to not, just because of our distance and schedules. But, I feel like the vibes are better when we're together.
It's not so cut to the chase business.
And there's always a slight delay.
It'll be say something. Ha ha.
It's not as organic as when we're in the same room.
No.
But we do what we have to do.
We do. It's hard out here.
I know it is. Just two working women, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's work.
Did you see that Paris Hilton put out her pictures of baby London?
I did. See, I know people were like, why isn't she showing the daughter? But then I kept thinking, I'm like, well, maybe she isn't born yet. Because it was kind of the post was weird. Because she just had the onesie and was like, oh, the baby. I'm having a baby. And then it was like, what?
Well, and I get her wanting to keep it private at the beginning, too.
Especially when people are so mean about her little son.
Oh, my God. I know it's
I wouldn't want to show anybody. But I love that she posts them. She's so cute.
I know, but it does make me sad with her son that she puts him in hats.
I know, because everyone was so mean about it.
And I mean, he'll definitely grow into his head. Right. Some babies have, big heads because the rest of them is so small.
Right. And it's and he's a baldy baby too. And my little one is a baldy baby and it just looks like all head.
Yeah. Until the hair grows in.
Right.
Yeah. I think he's cute.
I think he's adorable. And the little girl looks like him.
I know.
So cute.
Sometimes when I see Paris with, what's his name? Carter.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is your relationship? I
know
really
it
wonder.
I know it's strange because it was all these engagements that all these engagements.
She was engaged
many
all the time.
I know, and then this one just stuck.
I know,
and now they have 2 kids. It's whoa.
I think it seemed. I mean, and this is obviously just from little social media things and whatever. We have no real basis for anything, but it seems like he is into her, but sometimes I'm like, Paris, are you as into him?
I know. I feel like she's just not into people.
Yeah, I think that she could be very content, just like she wanted kids.
Right.
But I think she could, if she didn't want kids so bad, she could have been just fine with living her own life.
Right, and doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Especially because she was burned so many times.
I know. Yeah, definitely in her book and stuff. I'm kind of I don't know. It does seem like she probably... He's fine.
Yeah, right?
He's a good life partner for the rest of the days.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we could be wrong, but it just kind of seemed like she's like, well... Time's ticking. I guess I gotta... The next one is it.
I know, and then it was they met through the families or whatever, so then it was oh, guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but look, Paris has been through a lot, so as long as she's happy.
And she looks so good. She's got that good, allegedly, or maybe, Ozempic body, and she's looking good.
I know. She's just forever an icon.
I know. I think her teeth look really good. Some of the veneers or whatever you want to call them look different. But these I feel look really good.
They look unnatural sometimes. But she just has always looked perfect in my opinion. I mean, even you can look back on pictures from the early 2000s and be like, oh man, just because of style and whatever. Makeup. But that's the way it was. She was such a beauty.
I know. Even the pictures of her when she's a young 10 and stuff. She's so pretty. Celebrity Memoir Book Club. Rory posted this. I posted this photo, and it was I think Paris might have posted it. And it was like when they were younger. And then people are like, this is the perfect picture of when people say, why was it Paris and not Nikki? And it was like Nikki just kind of looked like, like we all did, dorky.
Yeah.
And then Paris was like this
stunning,
bombshell,
literally beautiful
grunge.
from
I know, like,
day
so
one.
pretty.
Yeah, and she was a perfect little baby. Like everything
I
you
know.
see the younger pictures, you're like, oh my God,
I
she's so stunning.
I know.
Yeah, she's just always been flawless.
Mm-hmm.
She is a real life Barbie.
Yes.
I know, Paris loves it.
I know.
Oh, and the other thing that was, I guess, noteworthy for pop culture, did you see, without getting too political, the woman harassing Alec Baldwin about the...
I did see a little bit of it.
So I don't know if it was the whole video, but it was a portion of it. And, regardless of whatever side anybody wants to take or stance in this whole religious war that's happening, but it's like I was reading comments and they're like, what does he have to do with either side of this?
Literally.
Like, why are you berating him to say he's for one side versus the other? Like, why does it matter what Alec Baldwin says? He has no skin in this game at all. Right.
And that's like, what are you going to stab him if he says the wrong answer?
Right. And it was so crazy. Like, he was in a restaurant or something and she's like full on up in his face, following while filming, like will not stop. And then one of the workers kind of comes up and tries and miserably fails at diffusing the situation. And then Alec Baldwin is like, call the police. And then finally is when he like hits the phone out of her hand. And even the comments, and like, I'm not a huge Alec Baldwin fan. Obviously, he's had a lot of controversy surrounding him in the recent years, but it's like, why is it okay to treat celebrities like this? Like, it is just insanity.
I know, and it's just kind of annoying too. It's like you're expecting this, like, not all celebrities are, it's like, why are we expecting Kylie Jenner, who posts like bikini pictures, to like give us the answer to politics?
Yeah.
And I get like they have platforms and they can influence things, but you shouldn't be basing it off of what your favorite celebrity wants you to say.
And if you're berating them and harassing them and like basically forcing them to say one side, how is that a win for you?
I know. Like, are you going to sleep better tonight?
Yeah.
Knowing that you may have forced Alec Baldwin.
So weird.
I know. It always surprises me, some of these celebrities that are just out by themselves.
I know.
Especially with people just constantly recording them and being like it's creepy.
It really is. This incident just reminded me of back to the days of the early 2000s. Like, I feel like we haven't seen something like as kind of blatant harassment like that in a little while. Like we used to back like 20 years ago. And it's just like, damn, this is still...
I know. And it's crazy too. It's like you don't have to be like a professional paparazzi anymore. You could just be you. Yeah. Like, oh, somebody's in front of you in line in New York City or something. Just start harassing them and recording
because
it.
All of our phones have pretty good cameras.
And then you can even do like literally take a live video from TikTok or Instagram and just like post it right there. Yeah.
I know, it's really wild. I was kind of surprised by the comments though, because, I think he's gotten a lot of hate for certain things. And it's just like people were the majority coming to his defense and being like, look, I'm not a fan of his, but this is ridiculous. And it's just kind of, I mean, I don't like to see this situation, but it's interesting the response, because back when we were younger, this was like, oh, good, we got the footage. People didn't even really feel sympathy toward the celebrities at all. And now it seems like the tide has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
In some ways, I guess. In some ways, they have sympathy, and in other ways, they don't. But anyway.
Did you see Alex Cooper got married?
Yeah, I did. And I thought it was really weird because we had this whole hype up for her wedding for so long. And then it was, we got married on April 6th in an intimate ceremony. I'm like, wait, but we've been talking about it for like a year.
Long. Right.
And then you just do it on the sly.
Literally. I think I saw her dress because it was kind of like she didn't really post it, but the Vogue thing did it.
I just saw it on TikTok. It was a slideshow of a bunch of different outfits she wore. So I'm not sure which one was her actual. Yeah.
Because she had the one where she had like a scarf around her neck. Yeah. And then there was like one that I think is the dress. But it was like hard to tell.
Yeah. And there was one that was kind of more towards the white family, like that brighter white. And then the other ones were like almost a bit more cream or taupey. Mm-hmm. But there were multiple that looked like the wedding dress.
Like, which is it?
Or did you just change
Literally,
a couple times?
I know. I'm like, okay, so definitely the rehearsal dinner she put was one of the outfits, but then it was like, I wasn't sure which one it was. But I wonder how this is going to like affect her whole like brand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually kind of surprised she did like the whole get married, settle down thing.
I am too. And especially when she did it, because she's still young.
Right.
I would kind of expect her to ride on her single life with her career longer. But I guess it's just like she found the guy that she wants to spend her life with, and that's that. I mean, what is she supposed to do? Like, not move forward? I don't know. But like, it will be interesting. Does she want to have kids right away? Is she gonna wait? And that'll completely change the dynamic of Call Her Daddy.
Right.
That was the thing. I mean, we've kind of talked about it before with that podcast. Like, I just would get a little annoyed sometimes where it would be so much about her single life before. And then when she got in this relationship and then got engaged, it was so hardcore into like, okay, this is my life now.
Right.
And then everything with like the marriage stuff, I feel like we saw so much of that, which it's like, I guess it's her life, but it just was very stark changes, I guess, that she would really like. It was like her whole world turned upside down, which I guess it does. It's not like I should be annoyed about it, but it was just so different from how she was.
It was. And then she kind of like keeps him private, but then like shows him.
Yeah.
But then, because didn't for a while she didn't really show him?
Yeah. Like I had never seen a picture of him for a long time.
And then they did like the Skims ads together.
Yeah. And what is he? He's a producer or
something like that.
Yeah. I wonder how they met.
I know. I wonder too.
Whatever. So, yeah, they're married, I guess. I'm sure that she'll detail stuff on an episode.
Yeah.
Because she does those, like, solo episodes, too, which I have never listened to. But I wonder how Alex Earl's podcast is going.
I know. I wonder if she's still Like, I never see anything about... Is it still going?
Yeah, look up Hot Mess and see. I haven't heard anything about it. And that other girl, I don't remember that other girl that was the UK.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Maddie or Madeline? Last episode was on Thursday, the Coachella tell-all.
Okay, so I guess she is.
Yeah. 21st birthdays.
That felt like it has lost momentum. I feel like, and maybe this is just where we are in our algorithm. But I
Right.
felt like I used to see Alex Earl
I
constantly.
know. Or like maybe she doesn't really need to promote herself anymore and she's got 22,000 reviews.
You don't need to say it.
It's like, dang.
So she's
It's
just a
color.
little ahead of us. But yeah, she probably doesn't really need to promote herself anymore. But ever since she started dating NFL man, I feel, and she's been like public with him, I feel like it's been a little bit more subdued with stuff.
Yeah. I do think her videos are fun, but yeah, they don't really pop up anymore. Like it's or if I see her pop up, it's an ad.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. I know. So it's kind of weird. Like she would pop up all the time.
Literally all the time.
Whatever. I guess it's just the ebbs and flows of being an influencer.
I know it is. I feel like for a while there, you know, like with the Charlie D'Amelio, like all that group, it was like they posted all the time and then they got so famous and started getting money in other ways that they just like stopped posting on TikTok.
Yeah.
But then it's like, but I don't see you anymore. So it's like out of sight, out of mind, kind of.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Addison Rae too, you know, like she was everywhere. And then, I got to this level, I don't need to do it. But
now
you almost kind of do.
I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a weird thing. It's like they want to all of a sudden when they get that famous to be more private, but it's like, but if your business is based off of being seen and making, you know, like social media content, it just seems weird to then they like go away. Yeah.
Or if the content that they make ends up just being the sponsored posts and the ads and stuff, it's like, that's not what people want. They liked to see how real you were or whatever.
And like with all the people that can come up now, it's like if you're not still posting, then I feel like people are going to forget about you and move on to the next new young thing.
Seriously. Yeah. I mean, it's the way it goes, I guess, but it is weird. It's like people can just come in and out so quickly.
I know. Well, even if you see like a video and it's like, I don't know, like 600,000 likes. And then you go to the page and none of their other videos get anything. And it's like, it's just such a weird
I know,
thing.
because even, I mean, on a small scale, like on TikTok, we've had some videos that really exploded and again on a very small scale, but like a lot for us. And we're like, oh my gosh, like we got all these likes and all these views and this will bring more people to our page. No, it doesn't increase our followers. No, it doesn't increase anything.
Literally not at all. It's like, how do you even keep people? Like, I
don't know.
Or like even videos I see, I'm like, oh, I like what they said, but I don't like it.
Right, exactly. Or I don't like, if I do like it or even comment, I'm not like flipping over to go follow that page.
Right. You're like, they don't say it. It isn't like, I feel like, I'm trying to even think who like, well, I mean, like, I guess Tana would have been one of my more favorite influencers, but I feel like I don't have like a favorite influencer. Like I want to see their content all the time.
I do think it would be different for us though if we had personal accounts.
Right.
Because whenever I'm thinking about following somebody or even liking something, I'm always like, well, this is for the podcast.
Right.
You know, like I know that people aren't like looking through our followers and stuff, but I don't want there to be a bunch of, especially on TikTok, like Instagram is so much more about like celebrities that we like, but on TikTok, it's just so many random people. I'm like, I don't want us to just be following a bunch of random strangers when we're a brand, you know, like that's weird.
I know. And then people will be like, well, they follow, you know, how many times have you seen like influencers or celebrities get bullied about, oh, you're following this person, unfollow. It's like, okay. Psycho.
Yeah. So I think it is kind of funny because on Instagram, like I think we kind of use that to like almost keep up on our celeb news stuff. But then TikTok, like I definitely have followed more of other small podcasts versus on Instagram. Like they're just not really as much on there. Like it's just funny how we just have like different
like what you
demographics
like what you
app.
like what you get out of it is different. Like I don't get out of YouTube what I get out of, and sometimes I do like to just get on my YouTube shorts because it's like it's so much more calm. Even though they're the TikToks, I always feel like
it's basically
TikTok,
the same.
I know, but then it feels like TikTok, like as an app, is so like high energy, quick swipe,
sure.
and like sliding through like like I want to rush through the video, so I like slide the thing, and I don't know if I just can't get it right on YouTube Shorts or if you just can't do it, but then it like forces me to like
slow down,
relax, look at the video, and watch it till the end.
I think that too, because a lot of times for TikToks, I'll like, you know how you hold it and it'll be like 2 times speed, and then sometimes if I'm looking at something on Instagram, I'm like, why can't I fast forward through this? But like, why do I need to? Like, just chill out. It's literally a minute and a half. Can you not devote a minute and a half
to just sitting there? Do you feel like on TikTok now, like, I feel like everything is trying to make you comment. Like I'll feel like my thumb will like relax for like a half a second too long and the comments pop up. I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden it's like, you like it, but you didn't actually like it. And
I've had that happen too. And then because sometimes I'll look through our likes at like funny videos, because that's usually what we like, or just things that are really funny. And I'll be like, I know Hannah didn't like that. But I didn't like that. But I remember watching that video.
And I know you're like, I did watch this, but like, or like if you're like, wait, I want to go back, and then you'll go back and it's liked. I'm like, I didn't like that on purpose. But it's like everything wants you to like comment. I'm like, the amount of times I'm gonna comment just like a letter onto something is like all the time, and it's like a stressful app.
I know. I've actually, I mean, I know this is bad, but there's been a couple times where I've been like on my phone at night, and then I've like fallen asleep for a second, and it's like sent a video to one of the people that we follow.
Oh no.
And I'm just, it's like a random freaking video.
Just
and
the
I'm just
one
like,
fell asleep
how is it that my relaxed thumb,
it's like sloop, sloop.
Literally like opened up to send it, to share it, clicked one of the followers, and then clicked send.
I know I've done, not like from sleepy, I don't even remember how it happened, but I like was like, say hi to somebody, and I like did, and it was a completely random person, not a podcast at all, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's just too easy.
I know it is, and it's not that way in Instagram at all.
No, not in Instagram or YouTube Shorts or YouTube. Like, I'll be scrolling the comments in YouTube and not accidentally replying to stuff.
Well, then now we're going on a tangent about this too, but it'll be almost like hard to get out of it on TikTok too, when it like you somehow click a comment and then all of a sudden you're replying to it, and then you can't like get out of it.
No, and then I'm like, I wonder if I do like end up sending like a letter. Like, it's never gonna be anything because I'm not fully typing. But
it's really weird.
It is weird.
They just are trying to promote engagement
it's like
in such a weird way.
Like your phone. Or I hate too the way I'll hold my phone and I'll like be going to like go to the comments and my thumb will bump the home and it refreshes it. I'm like, no, you'll never get that video back.
I know. But who knows what's going to happen, because Biden did sign that thing today about banning TikTok unless it's bought by an American company. So we might not have this app anymore sometime soon.
I know. Like, where's everybody going?
But you know what? It's like, I have heard, and I think our For You page is pretty I don't know, standard to who we are as people. But I've heard that some people get in like a super dark place.
Oh yeah, like my old, I mean, I know TikTok was a little bit different then too, but I had my old one. It was like some of this stuff, you'd just be like where am I? How'd I get here?
Well, yeah, and it's like, how is this allowed on here?
I know.
How are people allowed to make this type of content and put it out there? And not even like anything that's like disgusting. It's just like almost just more like mentally disturbing.
Right.
Like, how is it okay that this is being promoted on social media? And then, you know, especially for like teenagers or younger kids, it's like they see some of that stuff and it has like 60,000 likes and all the comments are like, I feel this way too, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like your algorithm brings you down to that spiral. Like, that is horrible.
I know. I've seen a not like on my algorithm, but like different people talking about how they're in like the eating disorder TikToks. It's like, oh my gosh. And they're like giving you tips and everything.
It's like, that is ridiculous.
I know. And it's crazy how it can just like go. Because even if you have like your For You page that's like everything you want, there will be sometimes like a random video where you're like, where did this come from?
Yeah, I know. And I guess like I don't think that really happens to us for ours like all that much, but there is that like button that says not interested.
And it's like we are also adults that can discern that stuff with like some of these teenage, like I can be like, okay, this is bizarre, and I can step away from it and stuff. But some of these kids, I mean, they're just too impressionable, and then you're like getting information, and then there's like all the fear mongering on there, like with the eclipse. I saw all this stuff where everybody was like, we're in the time of the whatever, you know. And it's like, everybody settle down, and then it just gets everybody all upset, riled up.
I know. On Twitter, like I've gotten like really just annoyed and like angry about some stuff that I've seen, because like our Twitter, we're not like active, but I'll just like post our episodes and repost stuff, whatever. We have
I heard
like
Twitter's
20 followers.
X is like the wild, wild west out there.
100%
is so bad.
It is insane. Like our following page is totally fine because I basically just follow like Bravo people. So it's all just Bravo stuff. But then if you go to like the For You, that is nuts. And I don't know how these tweets are for us, but it is crazy. And the one, like there are people on there that I've been like, I am reporting you. Like this is ridiculous. Like some of the things that people say are just disgusting. Yeah. And it was one, I can't remember if this was on Twitter or if it was on, I think it was on Twitter, but I see comments every now and again on like Instagram too. But the one was like, did you see where Mary Cosby apparently called Lisa Barlow's son the R word?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, so that was like one of the stories. And then I was looking through the comments, and then somebody was like, in my house, we use like that word. And then they had another one. I can't remember. Another disgusting phrase that nobody should be using. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like I reported that person. I'm like, this is hate speech. Like this is disgusting. That this is even allowed to be on there, and you saying that it is okay. Like what is wrong with you?
I know, it's insane what people will like post, and you're like, do you really think this way?
Yeah.
Like that's the scariest part. Like these people are just existing among us.
I
like,
know.
Having this type of thinking.
I know. I can't even like, oh my God. It's like, it doesn't surprise me because, you know, we work with people every day that we're like, wow, we have very different
lives
and mindsets and values. But just to see it on social media in 2024 is just shocking.
I know, especially in a time where we're canceling regular people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I don't know, it just seems like everybody's really, you think, cautious with what they say, or like even celebrities are always censoring themselves.
Right, but
and
apparently there's a side of social
on
media
Twitter.
where it's the lawless land. People say whatever they want. But that is what's scary too, because I mean, that's being perpetuated on these apps. So if you know, say a little person from the country or whatever, where
Right.
not to be stereotypical, but sometimes there's a bit more sheltered mindsets. They get on an app like that and see all these other people that are talking that same way, saying these same things. It's like they're going to think that that's acceptable behavior.
Right. I know. I've heard a couple of like the podcasters be like, do not look yourself up on Twitter.
Oh my God.
It's terrible. It's like, oh my God. I don't know. I guess like, or even when you look at the comments and they're like celebrities or something, it's like, what possesses you to get on there?
I know.
And typed something to somebody you don't even know.
I know.
Or know nothing about, and just like, what is wrong with
something
people?
so negative. It's ridiculous. I do think though, like, you know how on our, I don't know if you ever look on our main Insta feed and it'll be like this suggested for you, which most of the time I feel like they're not good suggestions.
No,
but whatever.
I know. I have a hard time with like.
But sometimes it'll be like, you know, a stupid, I don't know, mom blog, and the video will just be so absurd, and I will have to look at the comments.
I know. I'm like, I'm not going to participate in commenting, but I want to see what everyone else says.
And like, I will be like, this is ridiculous. Like, how are people, they have to be going off on this. And then it'll just be like, this is such a great idea. How sweet. This is so cute.
Your kids are going to love that when they're older. That you're really making memories.
I know. And then I swear these people are just bots. I swear they are, because
or even like some of the hate stuff seems like bots too. I'm like, are people really on here?
Like who are real people? We don't even know anymore. We literally don't know.
I know. And then it'll be like grammatically weird.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't know. You seem like you should be able to put a sentence better than that. And I'm like, is they real? Are they not?
AI
right.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And then when you hear how, I think we talked about it before, I can't remember if it was on the pod or not, but where apparently you can like, we know you could buy followers and stuff, but you can also buy like listens and downloads for your podcast. And it just makes me wonder, like, what is real anymore?
I know.
Like, what is reality? Like, you literally don't know.
No, not on social media. It's like we literally
even with like where they talk about like Kylie or Kim or, you know, whoever that has millions and millions of followers, and you're just like, but do they?
I know. It's like, and why?
Yeah, like,
I don't know. It just like doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Like, even with like, you know, Taylor Swift, who had such a huge tour and is so popular, but I'm just like, did that many people follow? Like, it's just like, are all these people real when we know that there are like bots follow us? That's why I'm just like, why do we even pay bots. Why do we pay attention to the followers? You know, it's like, it's hard to discern who is a real person or not.
It really is.
And yeah, like, we are a small account and we have a ridiculous amount of fake people.
I know. It's like actually insane.
I know. How did they even find you?
I know. Like, who is in charge of that? Like, is it like interns at the office that are like scrolling and so they pops up? They're like, follow.
I don't know. Speaking of interns at the office, I am so annoyed. Like, at first it was kind of funny, but on TikTok specifically, where I'll see like a funny video or something, and then I'll scroll through the comments and they'll be like companies or brands that just comment. And it's like, if it was like, okay, it was an Easter post and you posted this funny thing with jelly beans.
Right.
And then Jelly Beans liked it and said, love that. Okay, they tagged you, whatever.
Right.
But like there was one I saw the other day and I was scrolling through. There were seriously like 3 or 4 brands that just made a random comment in this. And I'm just like, these are the interns doing this. How is this helpful for your brand? Why do you want them engaging? It's not funny.
I know, it is kind of like weird to see them like in it. I don't know.
Like it was funny when it was the brand was involved, or like,
well, there have been like funny parts of it, but some of them I'm like, who even stumbled upon this and is like commenting? Or it's like, sounds like you need a V8 or something. Like you're having a rough day. It's like, oh, I guess that's one way to do it. Just get your name out like there in
boots on the ground marketing again. Like, yeah, like it's just kind of funny. But at first it was like, oh my God, this brand commented, and now they're all doing it, and you're just like, okay,
get out of here.
Why does Arm & Hammer even have a TikTok? Like, this is ridiculous.
Like, what world are we living in that it just seems weird. Like, okay, you go to the grocery store, you see Pringles in the aisle. Yeah. Like, I can't imagine that they would need
I know.
To be commenting on TikTok,
like Pringles that everybody knows
that people are buying and consuming for years.
I know.
Why they would need to be like young and hip? Like, are they really having a problem getting like the college age, like high school kids to eat them? Like, I just don't think.
I don't think so. Or even like when sometimes Netflix will comment on stuff, and you're like, really? So you're gonna engage with us while cracking down on the household policy? Right. I don't think so.
Get out of here. Yeah. I'm mad at you. Or like when I think it's funny too when they like, you know, like a production company puts out a movie trailer, which I think is like great to have that in your scrolling. Yeah. Because how else are we going to see movie trailers anymore? Yeah. But when they turn the comments off, like,
there you go.
Yeah, but like I
you
guess
want us to look and not say anything.
Comment on it. Like this would be like stupid. They do not want that.
You're right though, because I've been noticing that when I watch Heidi and Spencer's Snapchats, I've been seeing a lot for challengers and what's the other one with Dakota Fanning? The Watchers.
Yeah, or Watchers.
Yeah. I've been seeing those all the time. And I do like, obviously Challengers has been like huge. So we've seen that everywhere. But that Watchers one, like I hadn't seen anything about it. I probably wouldn't have unless they've been pushing it on Snap.
I know, which really is like a good, because when we used to watch TV and stuff, it's like you kept seeing the trailer over and over and over again. And you're like, all right, I'm just going to go see it.
I know.
It's starting to look good. Yeah. Especially with like the scary movies and they'd have like all the scary clips in there. And you're like, I've got to go see it.
I know. I do miss that. When I lived in San Francisco, my cousin, oh my God, we would go to movies all the time, like constantly. But he would be so big on watching like a compilation on YouTube of all the movie trailers that were released that week. And so we would literally like lay on the couch or on our bed or whatever and just like watch the trailers and then be like, oh, that one looks good. That one looks good. That looks stupid. And like, I don't do that anymore. Like we don't go to the movies. We've had those stupid movie passes for almost a year. We like haven't gone, but I guess it's not that there haven't been ones that I've wanted to see. It's just like, it's not just so easy to go to the movies.
I know. And if it's like going to come out on
streaming so quickly,
it's like, well, I'll just watch it at home because I could start and stop it.
Well, and because if I pay for all these damn streaming services, like I'm not going to
go to the movie theater for $11 or more. And then, I mean, like some stuff is fun to see in the theater, but some of it, it's like, I don't really want to like go see it. Where before it was like, that was your only option or you were buying the DVD.
I know.
It's like you're either seeing it in the theater or
that's
buying it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. I do want to see Challengers, though.
I know. I want to see that one, too.
Like, and I think that would be a good one to see in theaters.
It would.
Because it just seems like action-based.
Yes.
And I heard that it's kind of an emotional roller coaster.
Oh,
Like, I
that's
wonder how, and kind of in the way that Zendaya has been talking recently about, like, this is my first time, like, doing a movie like this and having a tour like this. And I'm just like, what do you mean by that? Because
Right.
you've been a main part in a movie before. You've done big, like, premieres before. What does she mean?
I don't know.
I don't know
I'm
either.
curious. She's getting us intrigued.
I know, that's the idea, I guess. Imagine, though, if she wasn't in this role and it was somebody else. Like, I don't even think it would be as big of a deal.
No. You're like, whoop. Blip on the
tennis
thing.
movie, who cares?
I know, it is interesting. Like, she is such like a big star
I
right
know.
now. Like, she is the intrigue for things.
Yeah, she is. Just my thought process went from her to Timothy Chalamet, which brought me to Kylie Jenner. Did you hear the rumor that she's pregnant with Timmy's baby? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know if I believe it or not.
I know, same.
It kind of seems like it's just kind of, I mean, it could be true, but it just seems like an easy rumor.
I know, for sure.
To put out, like, oh, well,
like, of course they're going to say that.
Right.
I will say, though.
But then I also heard they broke up.
Right, me too. But it is hard to, like, know with these rumors nowadays, though, because you can be like, oh, but they posted on social media. Yeah, but we also know that they bank these photos.
I know, they got
do
them
these
preloaded up.
Yeah, because even when she was on that vacation, where did she go to Mexico or wherever the heck she went? And she's like posting all these photos in allegedly real time. But then I saw in the Daily Mail, like, the next day, she was in LA getting, like, lunch with Hailey Bieber or something.
Right. And it's like, it would make sense if you're on a vacation, you don't want to tell everyone you're gone from your house or like there, and then people try to go find you. So it's like, why wouldn't we believe that? They're like posting them after the fact.
So it just makes you wonder, when was this vacation? When was the last time you guys were together? Have we seen, are you like 6 months pregnant? Like, we wouldn't know.
I know. And with her, again, it's like an easy rumor because she hides her pregnancies
she's
for
done
so
it
long.
Both times.
Mm-hmm.
What could you imagine if they really were pregnant, though?
If she was smart. That's all I'm saying.
Lock another one down. That would be crazy.
It would be.
And how beautiful of a baby.
Yeah, with its dark hair.
With Timmy's beautiful bone structure. Hopefully and curly hair.
And even if it's not beautiful, they could just like recreate it. Just like Kylie did, or like reconstruct it.
Like your face, yeah. I do think, I mean, we've talked about Kylie a million times before, but I just feel like recently it's been kind of annoying me. And I think it's just like some of the older people, and they're not even like elderly or anything like that. It's like within 10 years or more older than me. In recent weeks, there's been like so much unnecessary Kardashian bashing. And I'm just like, why?
Right.
You know, I mean, I think they're just such an easy target.
You know, it's
but
just
like,
kind of like a boring joke. Like, I remember, this was several years ago, but I think I told you about it, where it was like, I was at the pumpkin patch. So stupid. And there was like the little like gourds, and it was like skinny on the top and big on the bottom. And they're like, look, it's Kim Kardashian. It's like, that's not even, like, that joke is so old.
Yeah. And
it's not even
it's
funny.
not even unique to her anymore. That's the thing.
Like, you mean that's every Instagram person?
Like, that's the kind of ironic thing about it, is that, they kind of did pave the way for a lot of this stuff. But now it isn't just them. It's every influencer. Or you want to make fun of, like, you know, how fame hungry they are. Okay, then talk about literally everyone else in the industry.
I know. Like, I know I can't remember what I was listening to, but somebody brought up the fact, like, even that Nara Smith, it's like she's a stay-at-home mom, but she really isn't. She's like literally every day.
Yes.
Cooking, making videos. Yes.
She still is a model.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like this stay at home. You're not a stay at home mom posting anymore.
Yeah.
You are fully
What do they
working and
call
immersed.
that? I heard trad mom.
Trad mom? Yeah, I think
Traditional
it was
trad wife. Whatever. Same thing. Yeah. Like, it's like you're not, no one is unique anymore. And to say that about like, oh, you want to be a Kardashian? Well, literally everybody did.
Right.
And now they are.
Right.
You know? So it's just, it annoys me so much.
I know. And just even like with like the hate on like Kylie over the years and whether it was warranted sometimes or not. It's like she was still a child. Like,
right.
We were being mean to a teenage girl.
I know. And like,
and she's not even that old now.
No. And the things that like my one coworker was saying how like, oh, she was, you know, in different words saying that she was such an ugly child. I'm like, excuse
you listening to yourself? Like, let me see a picture of you when
like,
you were a child. Like, we're
like,
all pretty ugly.
Are you hearing the words coming out of your mouth?
Right.
Like, that is such a harsh thing to say about someone you don't know at all.
I know, and like a child.
And then to just be hateful because she got stuff done. It's like, well, I mean, I think the reason why she did was because she was self-conscious. Yeah.
Because everyone made her feel like an ugly child.
It's just crazy. Like, people just don't have any self-awareness. But we also are in that weird thing where I feel like we're always going to be Kardashian defenders because...
Not always.
But... I don't... It's hard, though. Like, every time somebody does that, like...
I just think it's, like, boring. You know, it's like I've heard all the jokes before. Like, it's just boring.
Yeah, like, I'm not watching the show anymore. Like, I don't really care about their lives anymore. Right. But when people, like, say that stuff, I'm just like... Are you kidding? Like, do you not realize that everybody is doing the same thing as them?
I know. That's why I'm like, just everybody's saying the same old, the Kardashian. It's like,
yeah, I just think it's dumb. And like, but then you feel like I feel like I can't say anything because then they're going to make me feel like I'm an idiot when really I'm the one that understands how the industry works. Right. And they don't. So.
No, it's like, come up with some new material, guys.
Right. It's like so dumb. Like my one coworker literally just today was like, oh, my, niece or whoever like wants to, when we go out to California, wants to go to In-N-Out Burger, probably because they saw a Kardashian there. I'm like, also, I just don't feel like they are bringing the power to things like they were before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think any teenager is like, oh, I want to go here because Kim Kardashian did. Like, that was happening when we were younger.
Right. It's not. They'd be like, oh, I want to go to Starbucks or Dunkin', whatever. The Charli D'Amelio drink. Like, that makes sense.
Or like, oh, Sabrina Carpenter was just here. Like, that's the vibe now.
But they probably don't even know those names.
Exactly. That's what it is.
It's easier to be like the Kardashians.
Just annoying. I don't know why we have to bring hate to anybody. It just annoys me. As we're gonna like go in and talk about all of our pop culture stuff. But the other thing I wanted to say is that I've been watching that Baby Reindeer on Netflix.
I know I wanted to start it, I just haven't yet. It's been a crazy week.
Yeah, I think I got through episode 5. I don't know how many episodes there are. I didn't look. But I heard a bunch of stuff about episode 4, that it was like very shocking and disturbing. Mm-hmm. And I will say, I watched it, and I won't spoil anything for you because you haven't seen it yet. But yes, it was disturbing, but I feel that I have been very desensitized to things ever since 13 Reasons Why. Right. I mean, literally, like, I watched this episode and I was like, yeah, but I remember what it was like watching those seasons, and that really was shocking and traumatizing, and nothing that I see on TV. Like, there's a difference between like a horror movie and like gore and whatever, but when it comes to almost like real life stuff, I'm just so like, rough. Like, I'm so... I don't know. That show really...
I know that show, not to be dramatic.
I know, but we kind of talked about it before.
Fricked with me. Like,
I know.
I think I was like, I don't even know what made me watch. I think I was like sick. There was like 2 shows I binged when I was sick. One was Big Little Lies and one was the first season of 13 Reasons Why. And I was just like totally enthralled with everything. And then when it, obviously did like the hard scene, I was like, holy crap, that just showed that, and just like the aftermath of her passing.
All of it was...
I know. And then like the second season.
It didn't get better.
No warning. I know. And it was like, people are like, there was a warning. I'm like, well, I didn't see it. And
I don't think there was a warning. And I thought they put them in after.
I knew they put for the second season for sure after, and then they edited the first one and like took out
the scene.
But when I was watching it, people were still saying, no, they like put a thing. And I was like, well, if you watched the opening day, there was no warning.
Which is so insane that
I know, especially a show that was like, I was not a teenager watching
but geared
toward teens. And like that kind of like violence.
I know, there were, how many scenes could we even rattle off? Like so many that were so traumatizing to watch. And it's like...
And even like the whole... premise I remember,
of the show.
Yes. When the... Spoiler warning. When Zach...
If you haven't watched it by now.
Zach and Hannah's like romance. That screwed with my head so much. I don't even know why. I think it was because it was like, but she's gone now. And like, but she never talked about it. And I know, obviously logistically the writing could have been a little, but it was like, it was so upsetting. And I remember I had to like stop, and like, I couldn't even sleep right because I was just thinking about like, it just such a shock.
I know.
Like, ugh.
It was just so... those scenes stuck with you, and it was like thing after thing. It was every episode you're like being hit from all angles.
I know. And the whole thing was just so like Clay's longing for her and that dang song.
I know.
The Lord of Huron.
How many times did I play that?
And like weeping.
I know.
Like there's something...
Like I can still see it was the like homecoming dance,
and they're all holding him. And then when she's like her little ghost, they're like walking up to each other and smiling. That show was just...
I know, like I don't think anything I could watch. And we weren't teenagers, but we weren't that old when it came out either, like so I feel like it just got us at like a vulnerable time,
where it just like really just
it
ate away at the soul. And even like this, I think it was like the 3rd and 4th season weren't like necessary or like amazing, but there was still stuff in it where it was like you're just so invested in these characters, and like it was just so...
Oh, I know. Like even the last season, I was crying.
I know, like when freaking Justin died. It was so unnecessary.
It was so unnecessary. And I was just sobbing.
I know. It was like they were brothers.
I know. Absolutely sobbing. Like they've just been through so much.
I know.
And this is how it ends.
It's like you did not have to do this.
And it just got so far from a teen drama.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Fully, like we're going to college and like the parents are involved.
Yeah. And just so, unrealistic. Like, and those things in isolation definitely do happen.
Right.
But to have it be thrown all at one group of friends in one high school.
It's very Degrassi. Like, it's like,
yeah, but even Degrassi, like, you didn't feel so traumatized, like, in the way, like, this was graphic.
I know.
Like, Degrassi at least gave us the Canadian soft side. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Oh my God. So yeah, I wonder when you watch Baby Reindeer, we'll have to talk about it again, because I felt like a psycho after I watched episode 4, and I'm like, what are people disturbed by? Like, this is messed up. But
or like, I feel like even just like listening / reading books that have a lot of that stuff in there, that it isn't
all the true crime stuff too.
Right, that you just kind of get like
used to.
Yeah, which is sad, but
I know.
Yeah, I do want to watch it though.
It is interesting. I haven't really like gone deep into the true story of it all. But it is terrifying that, you know, this is based on this guy's actual life events, life experiences.
What an interestingly like cathartic thing to do. Like, that is why, like, just to fully take some like, and again, I haven't really watched it, so I don't know fully what is going on in it, but to take something like that and make it into like art.
But also to have the talent to do it.
Right.
You know, like, so many people have things happen to them and they have to express it in different ways. But like, the way he's doing it, I think it gives awareness, and also people can relate to it. And it's, I don't know, it is really, it must feel good to do that.
I know,
to
like,
create
it's really
something
interesting.
like that.
Right.
Yeah. But it is terrifying. Like, I know that there are like things in this show that are definitely embellished or whatever, or like not fully accurate. But there are some times where I'm just like, what were the people around you doing?
Right.
Like there are times when they're like in a public place and no one around is doing a darn thing. And I'm just like, it's like one of those hidden camera shows where it's like, what would you do? Like, did people seriously not try to help or say anything or anything?
I know. Well, I guess I kind of believe that people wouldn't. Like, I feel like there's certain things, even if it's not like that bad, you're like, you just kind of don't say anything and you just like walk away.
And I guess too, like, when we see the whole story, it is, oh my God, this is horrible. But if you're seeing it in person, it's like one isolated incident. You're probably just like, well, that's weird. But
I know, like, what
you don't know that this is a stalker.
Right.
You know, yeah. It's just... Yeah, I would recommend watching it. I think that'll probably be my recommendation, even though I haven't finished it yet.
Right.
But it's very intriguing. It keeps you wanting to know more. So
cool.
Yeah. Should we take a little break?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, guys, it's no secret that Hannah and I have a sweet tooth, but we hate the guilt that we feel after we've binged on some of our favorite cookies, donuts, or other treats. So that's where Dough comes in. Dough is an edible cookie dough company that also has donut holes and some delicious chocolate hazelnut spreads that you can eat and not feel so guilty afterwards. These treats are made with extra ingredients that are good for you, gives you extra energy, makes you focus more, and the best part is that they are vegan and gluten-free, which is so amazing and something that you don't find all the time. And sometimes when you get vegan or gluten-free products, they taste vegan and gluten-free. But these dough, cookie doughs, and donut holes do not skimp out on the flavor, and they are so delicious. We have tried the cookie dough raw and baked, and it's good either way. And one of our favorite new donut holes are the collab donut holes with Chamberlain coffee, and it's the cinnamon sugar. And these are just so amazing. You want to eat them with your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. They're just so delicious. And the best part is that they come with some extra vitamins in there to, get your day going and help you focus a little bit more. So if you want to try these vegan, gluten-free, and delicious products, you can go to Eat Dough, and that's spelled DEUX.com to place an order. And if you use the code WaterBottle15, you can get an extra 15% off of whatever you order. That is dough, spelled DEUX, and use WaterBottle15 for 15% off. We're back. We are back magically in the same spots as we were before. All right. Well, should we talk VPR?
Sure.
Jax is back again. Jax is back.
Jason Couchy.
Did you catch the Chiron when he first popped up and it said X or employee?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Like that's what they gave him.
Like some of that stuff, it's like, you mean ex-cast member?
Yeah.
Like it's just like, so just break the freaking wall,
I know the fourth wall's been broken.
Like, come on.
Like just good. Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Or
but
it'll
I
be
think,
like James's girlfriend. Like
we know
like,
who
duh.
she is. I feel like this for Jax is almost more of like a slap in the face. Like,
make sure you know where he came
know
from.
his place. Yeah. So he comes in, which we had known that they were doing the little things that, was it? It's at Sir, right? The brunch, or is it at Tom? It doesn't matter, but we know from like the media and stuff that they were doing that. We saw those posts, but I kind of forgot. So the reason why he's on is setting up for that. So he's like at James's, and they're kind of talking about stuff and setting up the feud between Jax and Katie, and also Jax and Lisa. And he's just going on about Katie's been spreading stuff and blah, 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 blah. And Lisa's not supportive, blah, 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 blah. I feel torn with like the Lisa thing because like I know that she was a big part of his life for so long, but at the same time, it's like if we want to break it down, she was, first of all, his boss at Sir, but then also on the show too. Like she was the one that brought the show and was the producer, and like I don't know, like if you aren't on the show anymore, I don't really feel like she owes you anything. Like you didn't have a real relationship. You know what I mean?
I guess I just don't know if they did or didn't, but it is like, I don't know. Because I can also see like Lisa being all like that motherly thing to everybody.
Yeah.
But they also got in fights too.
Yeah,
so
all the
I'm
time.
not sure like.
And they didn't end things well.
No.
So I guess for Jax to be so apparently hurt by this, I'm just like, are you surprised that she didn't want to continue to reach out to you? Like you're a loose cannon. And then it comes later, but like he is blabbing his mouth about how Lisa's just a figurehead on the show and she doesn't really matter. Like you're not being nice about her in the media. Like, I guess I just don't. And Jax is so delusional too. Like he talks about it on the after show where he's like, she would come to me like, when she was on Real Housewives and be like, you're the only one I can talk to, and would cry to me about stuff. I don't for 1 second believe that Lisa would go to Jax out of everyone and say, you're the only one I can talk to, and cry to him. Right. Like, Jax, nobody believes that. Scheana and Brittany then are talking and just kind of like about bickering with their husbands, and Scheana says that she doesn't want to be pregnant again because she doesn't want to die. Talks about like her postpartum OCD is really bad. And then Brittany's, just saying how like some of the things in their marriage that caused like a rift to her when Brittany started bringing in more money and it was like a man thing, and Scheana's relating to that with Brock, which I don't think Brock ever was the breadwinner in the relationship, so I don't really know why this feeling with him would be happening now.
Right. I guess maybe because the public is saying something about it.
Storyline.
Right.
He was called out.
Yep.
And then we have the Katie and Tom Schwartz lunch at Mel's Diner, which brought me like a little, this next episode's going to be a little hard for me because I just am getting like San Francisco flashbacks. Like they had Mel's Diners up in SF and I like had like a shudder of a memory of going there,
Right.
which I did love those milkshakes. And then when they're going to Kyle Chan's thing all in SF, I'm like, ugh. PTSD. But I just thought that Katie and Schwartz going to lunch, like, it's again a storyline thing, and I don't deny that it is hard to not have somebody in your life when you've been together for so long. But it is just like Katie has made it very clear in the past that she doesn't want him to have access to her life. Right. So now why is she like, oh, I do miss him as a friend?
I know. I kept trying to think about it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, I just see it both ways. Like, because you're filming a show together, but then also like, I don't know if I would. I think you could maybe get to that place again, but it just doesn't seem like it's necessary right now.
And it almost seems too soon for them to be doing that. I mean, I know that they both have moved on, but it's just
But if she's still getting upset about like Joe, and she was really upset about like the Rachel thing. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic to have.
And I do like seeing them together. Like, I think they have a fun little banter, but it just makes me think about, okay, but what about real life? Like, would they be doing this in real life if it wasn't for the show? I don't really think so. Right. And then them talking about the Tori thing. I'm like, okay, I thought we were done with her. Right. Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. This was painful. Right. Move on. Brock and Scheana go out to dinner for their anniversary. Scheana reveals that they did get a prenup, which was definitely smart on her part, given his track record. And then also, I kind of thought, like, when he's saying, I want to, do something with a career and feel like I'm not just putting around here, whatever. And then she's like crying and be like, don't you feel like this could be your second chance at being a dad? Like, that to me was almost like, ooh, like,
I know,
ouch.
that was awkward. I know, I'm like, eesh. I know, ooh.
Like, it really, when you really think about it, like, it's worse in your head,
I know. It was like, but like, why I get sometimes for some people, like they, work brings them a lot of purpose to their life and stuff, but it's like, get a hobby. I don't know. I just don't understand his whole thing. Like, we have to have a babysitter. We have to have a babysitter. It's like, but why? What are you doing?
Yeah, then that's what I think we said it last episode or the one before. It's like,
or like a nanny. It's like, just you're so extreme. And then she's probably going to be at preschool
soon,
in a couple year or like a year.
Is Scheana seriously gone all the time?
Right.
There's never a moment where like she is home and not working that you could be, and vice versa.
I know. And I kind of want to be like, well, Brock, you chose to have a kid. Like, you can't just drop everything and go do what you want when their kids are little.
Well, and not to, bash him or whatever, but he didn't have a stable career from the beginning. And like what he brought up at this dinner about, he was at the doors of the NFL, which I don't know that whole story of how close he actually was to that or not. But it's like, then I know he had that gym that he had with like some friends or something, and then like COVID and whatever, and then that was done. But it's just like, it's not like he had this thriving career
Right.
when he and Scheana first got together, and then now because of Summer, he doesn't have it anymore.
Right.
Like, he didn't have anything stable.
Right.
And now he said in the after show that he wants to get into television and producing. And Scheana said that he has 2 shows in the works. And I'm just like, really? Like, really?
No credentials.
That just seems ridiculous to me. And
so they're investing in projects.
Yeah. I just don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
I know. Well, and it just feels like his arguments there just weren't like
they're very thin. Yeah.
Well, like, I want to go golfing. It's
it's almost like a little tantrum.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, well, you just can't do it every day, but you can go do stuff.
Yeah, and I do get the argument with like Sheena's mom around all the time, because that can be a stressor for sure. But like, still, it's just like, Brock, what else do you have to be doing? And like, Scheana is right that it is a job to stay at home. If the roles were reversed and Scheana was staying home with Summer all the time, then Brock, I don't think would be like, yeah, you need a job. Like, he would be like, no, you do so much, you know? So.
Right. And it's like, I know nobody wants to be cooped up in a house all day with a kid. So it's like, go take her and do stuff.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm sure if you're like, Scheana, do you mind, you know, asking your mom for a couple hours so we can go to dinner, to go walk on the, it's like, I don't know. It was just so, I don't know. He was acting very, I don't know, he just put out by having a kid.
And he has such a strong opinion for like no reason. Like, I don't get why. I know. And once you do bring in that his issues with his previous relationship, you're like, really, Brock?
I know. And just because he's like, oh, did you have to parent for the first time?
Like, Sheena's right. Like, maybe this is your second chance. You shouldn't squander it.
Right.
And then we move on to this weird Beastie Boys like adventure montage between the 2 Toms, where Schwartz like picks him up in this little car, and Tom doesn't open the door. He jumps over it like a 80s movie, and they're like jamming out to music, and it was so cringy. And then they get to the tattoo parlor, and Tom has yet another bag that he's carrying with him, and I just don't understand.
I know, it's just so funny how cute that used to be, and now it's just ugly and stupid. Like, fast forward.
Why is he carrying a bag? Last week with the tote bag really got me, though. I'm just like,
he was so sassy with it too, walking around. It's like,
I know. Like, I just can't get over it. And then Schwartz gets the tattoo of Gordo and Butters, which is cute. I don't know how I feel about like realistic pet tattoos. I know your husband has like the cartoon one of your angel dog. But I don't know how I feel about that. I just feel like Schwartz's tattoos are so like off the wall and like random that for him to actually think about this one is just weird to me. Like, he actually got this one sketched out and planned it. But it did look cute. Like, it was well done.
It looked way better than I thought it was going to. Like, I knew he said it was the dogs or whatever, but I was like, I don't know. And then I'm like, I'm like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah, when they showed the after, I'm like, oh, it does look cute. But it's just, sometimes I'm weird about the portrait tattoos when they're just by themselves, too.
I do think the animal ones look better than the people ones sometimes.
Well, because it can be easy to mess up the people ones.
Sure can.
And there's no going back.
No.
Like, how do you fix that?
I know.
Like,
it is weird, like a weird thing. I don't think I would want anyone's face tattooed on me.
even if it was your kid.
I know. Like, I've seen some like cool like movie character ones that end up looking really good.
Yeah.
But to have like, I don't know, it just always looks real scary.
I
when
know.
it's like a real life person that you know.
Right. And I mean, it can definitely be well done.
Right.
But it is kind of just like, it's kind of a weird thing to do.
I know. Like, I guess like the movie character thing is like, makes more sense to me because you like really like the character. Not that you don't love the person you're tapping.
But it is just, I don't know. It's weird to be like,
weird.
oh, look on my arm. There's my girlfriend.
I know.
Or,
Back
like,
when she was 21.
Yeah, it's
now
really
we're 80 and it's
odd.
It is.
Like, I almost you know how Brooklyn Beckham got Nicola's like eyes.
Yeah, see, now that I think
a little
cool.
Yeah, because it's just her eyes.
Right.
That's not as weird.
No.
But also, he has so many tattoos. I think it's not as weird because it like things just kind of blend together.
Right.
Where with like, this is what I was thinking with Schwartz. It's like, imagine that you were like hooking up with Schwartz.
Now you see it from behind. You see Bubba on his butt. You see the freaking dogs.
2 dogs and then LVP on the other cheek.
Right. And it's like, and that also has to do with the ex-wife because you share the dogs together.
I know. It's like, what?
I know.
Like, I'd be weirded out by that.
Be different, that's for sure.
Like, oh, explain these tattoos. And then he just goes on a tangent about his ex-wife, Katie.
Right.
Like,
these are dogs you share Gordo and Bubba. I mean, Gordo and Butters.
And we used to call each other Bubba. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go. Like, and then I had to laugh when Sandoval falls off that chair too. Like, it just reminded me of in like middle school when we'd all be rocking back, and
they're
the
like,
teacher,
"Don't do that.
Yeah.
You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall."
He did. No, it's funny. But this is where they first talk about the Kyle Chan launch party. Was that for whiskey? Some type of alcohol?
No.
And I thought that was the finale. Is it the finale or not?
Like last week's episode?
No, the party for Kyle Chan.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
when
remember.
they go to San Francisco. I thought that
probably.
But then, like, I guess I just feel like this season has kind of gone by quickly. But then when I look back, it's been, what, 12 or 13 episodes?
Probably, yeah.
But it just,
January.
I'm just like, wait, it's going to be over? Now what? But I guess you're right, because, like, it's towards the end of April. Yeah, it would be almost done.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do after? We waited this whole time and now... Yeah, then James and Allie go to this facial place, and I wanted to go to it so bad. Didn't that seem amazing?
It did. I want some cardio on my face.
Yes.
Just smacking around my face.
Like, destroy my face to make it tighter and toned. And then when Allie's like, can we go twice a month? I'm like, oh, I would literally chop my arm off to get facials twice a month.
I also, those scenes are always weird, though, when, like, people at a reality show go to like a spa and they're just like talking and getting like,
I know,
it's like, it's just so set. It's like, can't they just sit on the couch and have this
like,
conversation?
Can't they just be at home? Because like you said, it's so like set
always.
Up. And sometimes it's just a nothing scene.
I know,
it's just a filler. And then Ariana talked to her boyfriend on FaceTime quite a lot, and I was thinking of you know, people have kind of criticized about her moving on a little bit too fast or whatever. But like we had said before, since they are long distance, and if their relationship is primarily based on just FaceTiming each other, it's like, I mean, is that big of a deal?
Right. It's like pretty low stakes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they full blast moved in together and did all that. Yeah, I don't think it's...
And I mean, when they see each other, of course it's going to be great because they haven't seen each other in a while. And Yeah. So I don't think that it's not like she's saw him one day and is saying I love you and then they move in the next day. Like it still is pretty low on the totem pole of serious relationships, in my opinion. But this is where she did mention that Sandoval is looking at places, and then later we have the scene where they're talking about it more with Tom and Tom. Then we move to this brunch, and Lisa says she's not happy about Jax being involved with this. Acts as if she didn't know, which obviously we know that she knew he was doing this with James. But then I thought it was funny when James then came to the table, and whatever that one manager's name is, I can't remember what his name is that's originally there. And then Jax comes over and James just like scoots right in next to Lisa because he's Lisa's little golden boy. I thought that was like cute and funny. Then she says that Jax called her superfluous. And then Jax is like, oh, I don't know what that means. Well, you got to use smaller words. And then James literally Googles it to see what it means. And these type of situations annoy me because even if you don't know what superfluous means, just use the context clues. You know what she's trying to say. And don't play dumb that you didn't make comments about her. Like, come on, Jax. And then he's just like, oh, let's just move past this. Can I give you a hug? Blah, blah, blah. Shut up, Jax. I'm tired of you. Although I do like seeing you on my TV screen because you are good for reality TV, but I'm still annoyed by you. And then the funniest part of this whole episode, I thought, was when he goes over to the girls' table and he's like, well, I'm not one to gossip, but I heard.
I know, that was funny. You heard straight from the cat's mouth, and then you ran over and blabbed it like you always do.
I know. And then they had the black and white flashback, and Tom Schwartz is like, well, just don't tell anybody about this, man. He's like, oh, no, I won't say anything. And then flash forward, and he's like, well, Ariana, did you hear that Tom and Tom are on about moving in together? Like, oh my God. It was just so funny how we set that up. Then we moved to the after party at James's house. And I'm sorry, but this might be a little like of an unpopular opinion, but I did not think that it was that big of a deal that James said he didn't want to leave Hippie with somebody.
Oh my gosh, I know. I forgot about that part. Yeah, I didn't think it was that big of a deal either because as much as our dogs annoy me, me and my husband are very funny about leaving our dogs places with people. And I totally was like, honest.
I know.
I mean, I guess because the dog like came to them kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I could see why she was a little frustrated with it, but like, you have to come with me, to this wedding or whatever they were doing. But like, no. But like, I don't like leaving my dogs. Well, but
think about like your dogs are definitely more
high maintenance.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I meant. They're not from like a traumatic past, and like they're very secure and comfortable at home with you and trust you and stuff. But like for Hippie, he had been through a lot over the last few months.
I know. And I thought when Lala was like, don't compare it to me having to find childcare. I'm like, okay, well, I have kids and dogs, and obviously the kids trump the dogs, but I still have strong feelings about where our dogs are going when we go places.
Yeah, and James doesn't have a kid.
Right.
It's not like he's saying, oh, I don't care where my kid goes.
Right, but the dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, Lala just like, no, it's only worse for me.
Yeah, of course.
You don't get to feel anything because it's only felt worse for me.
Yeah, I know that was so annoying. And I just thought they were really like being hard on him. And I just felt like he was very valid.
And he was feeling away. So
Yeah.
like he might not feel that way now, but he felt that way
at
then.
the moment. And I mean, it was a traumatic thing for James too. Like when he first lost Graham at the time, like he hated that. He didn't like not being able to see him. It was really sad for him. Then he thought he would never get him back ever again. He finally does, and then learns about all these things that the poor dog has been through. Like, of course he doesn't want to try and like mess up the dog's schedule and put him with random people, and especially since they had been working hard to get him acclimated to this new place with the cats and everything. It's like you don't know if you're going to disturb something with the dog and then erase your progress. So I felt like they were being unnecessarily tough on James, and I didn't like how Lala was like, well, with James, he comes first and Allie comes second. Like, that's very clear in their relationship. I'm like, what do you even know, Lala? Like, you don't have any authority to talk about this. Like, I'm so done. And then Allie was on Watch What Happens Live, and like some of the poll questions were saying just that, like, it does James value himself over Allie and whatever, and the audience said that yes, he does. And it was just a lot of like negativity towards James, and you could tell that poor Allie was so uncomfortable, and she's like, no, he does a lot for me, like people just don't know. And I'm just like, it's their relationship. Like, let them live their little life. Like, they obviously have something that's working for them. And you could just tell she was really uncomfortable by some of the things that were. And I felt bad for her because Allie does seem so genuinely nice. But anyway, that pissed me off. And then did you see how he was wearing Psycho Bunny merch?
No.
I'm like, I forgot that existed. Where has that been? He had those t-shirts on. I was like, what?
Took me back to
I know
2004.
I know, way back there. Then later on at the party, Ariana and Schwartz have a little conversation, and I saw somebody on Instagram post this and just say Ariana needed time and nobody was giving her time, and now she had a nice little chat with Schwartz and they could have a real conversation, but nobody was giving her the space and time to feel her feelings and move on her own. Like, they had to paint her out to be so irrational. But that's where Schwartz was like, you know, he's talking about moving in here and I can't afford the home, and they go into some more logistics, which we literally said this from the very beginning, that he never would be able to afford to buy her out and pay for this. Like, that was so freaking dumb. Brock and Scheana have some really awkward, loud conversations around the pool about being home for Summer Moon's bedtime. And that's just like the awkward moments where you're like at a function or in public and like a couple is clearly fighting and everybody's just pretending not to hear it.
I know. What is it about people fighting that makes everyone like look down and like turn their head? Like, don't make eye contact with them, even though I can hear them perfectly.
But it was even more awkward in this situation because Brock was in the pool. It's like that's such a weird place to be having a feud. Like, you're on a floaty in a pool and Sheena's like eating food. Like, it's so weird. But they didn't care. They're just at each other's throats about this. Again, why is he so bent out of shape about Scheana wanting to go home?
It's like he just is coming across very inconvenienced by his child.
Yeah, he is. It's
and like
not
the responsibilities of the child.
It is not a good look at all. And then the episode ends with the fight between Sandoval and Scheana. And it kind of started about like the song, and then it just kind of exploded from there. And I was literally like gasped when Sandoval said, well, you've been the other woman in a relationship. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, you're so delusional. And this is a moment, and I don't resort to violence. But if Brock would have just decked him right there, I would
Right.
have been like, yes, do it, Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Lay him out. Like that.
No, it's just so, like, he's just is so awful. And it's just like, oh, well, because you did this, then it just, I feel like he thinks that because everybody else has made mistakes as we all have, it cancels out what he did.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not how it works.
Right. And again, like even with the James stuff, it's like mistakes that were made when everyone was in their 20s. And was
Right.
it dumb? Yeah. But they're not still making these
Right.
mistakes. That's the difference.
Right.
They have moved past, they themselves look
And it's
back
like-
and they're like, that was dumb.
And your argument, Tom, doesn't make sense because you weren't the other person in the relationship,
Right.
Tom.
You knew exactly what you were
the
doing.
one that was, doing it to
How
somebody
do you
else.
even compare the situation at all?
Right.
Like Scheana says that she didn't know that they were still together. She was told that they were separated.
Well, it's obviously not morally great, but it's like
No.
it wasn't her relationship.
No.
This was his relationship
Yeah.
that he was choosing to hurt people in.
Well, and even if you want to try and compare her and Rachel, it's like,
right.
no, because Scheana wasn't friends with Brandy.
Right.
Like, so it's not the
Or
same
coworkers with Brandy.
any way.
Right.
Yeah. It's like none of it can be compared. And it's just, he always wants to bring out like the lowest blow to try and make himself
right.
seem better. It's like, no.
But yet Lala and Scheana want to try to like rekindle a relationship with. It's like you hear what he says to people, right? Like, why do you want to talk to him and rebuild a relationship at that point?
Yeah, like
You've
it's
heard
just
all the horrible things
ridiculous.
he says.
It's completely ridiculous. There was one thing. Oh, he in the after show when Sandoval talks about this is what he has been saying this whole time. I know what I did was horrible and bad and blah, 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 but they're acting like I murdered somebody. Why does he keep saying,
Well, it's
who
like,
is
you did murder
acting
somebody.
like
You
that?
murdered somebody's heart.
Very true.
You know?
Very true.
You
But,
murdered
like,
her soul.
But he took the light right from her eyes.
You know, it's like, well, just because I didn't do the worst thing you can do
But
means
like, who is saying
I'm doing the worst thing.
He's the one that's comparing himself to
Right.
these murderers, and he keeps saying this. Nobody else is saying that.
Allegedly,
It's
Scott
like,
Peterson.
Yeah, it's like crazy.
I know.
Like you're the one saying it. Nobody else is.
Right.
And it's just like, yeah, like you just said, okay, if murder is your like top tier,
I know. Well, then
you can
could-
only do something bad if you murder somebody.
I'm like Chauvin, man. Like, what?
Just stop. Like, just stop. And there's so many times in the after show, because it'll be Tom or Sandoval Schwartz in the middle, and then Jax, and they'll like pan to Schwartz, and he's just like, like he doesn't even say anything. He's just like his eyes are zoned in a different place. He can't even be in the moment to hear Sandoval's nonsense. Like it is so ridiculous.
I know.
I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to say about the other thing about like Jax talking about, how he was just a godsend basically to this show. He says he created a masterpiece with the show.
He contributed to a masterpiece.
No, he created it. It was all him. And I will say, like, through the early days especially, he obviously was a main cast member. He was a big part, but he wasn't the only one that made this thing great. Like he really is delusional.
Number one guy in the group.
Yeah. I mean, in his mind, I guess. And I feel like when they do the after show and they like replay parts from the episode, it should all be uncensored. I thought that they were doing that before, and now it's not. And the only episode that they re-put up with uncut and uncensored was that one from a couple weeks ago, and they've never done it again. And I just feel like when they put it on Peacock, it should all be uncensored now.
Right.
They gave us that little taste, and now I want it all that way. I don't want to hear the bleeps anymore.
I want to hear the cuss
It
words.
takes me out of the... There was some episode where it really did. I'm like, wait, what are we even talking about?
Right.
There's too many bleeps. I just want to know. Just let me hear it. I can handle it. There was one thing I wanted to say about the Valley. I don't want to go into like the whole episode, but about like Kristen and Luke trying to get pregnant. It just kind of is sad to watch. And obviously not just with Kristen and Luke, but with any couple on a show when they're trying to get pregnant, because then skip to like our real time.
Right.
And we know that they're not pregnant.
Right.
And it just kind of makes me sad.
Right.
Like we're watching these episodes and they're trying and they're excited about it and talking about it, which I do think is kind of weird for the two of them to be doing in general, but they want that. But then to know that they still,
Right.
It's just a little like, aw.
I know.
Like I feel bad for them.
Definitely.
That's hard. But I know you're waiting to watch The Valley and just binge it all, but I actually am enjoying this show a lot more than I thought I would.
I think it's a cool, it's just kind of cool to see like people in that stage of life. Just kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like we get that much anymore.
No, and I think that we kind of thought it was going to be, all babies and kids, but it really isn't. And I do think it's nice because you can still have children and have a life and have a social, and like obviously what they're doing is a different scale than what a normal person is doing, but it still is kind of nice.
I know,
to
like,
see that.
Right. And just like have people talking about like just the different, all of it.
Yeah, they're talking about like real marriage struggles. And the one Naya and I can't remember, Danny is her husband. They're like the most stable couple on there, the ones that just had the twins. And she was so open about her postpartum depression.
Right.
And it's like, wow, like that is so nice to hear a woman talk about. And you just don't see that on TV that much.
Right. It's like you might get like a TikTok or a vlog, but you don't really get it on cable television.
Yeah. So it is. And even like the, some of the strains with like Brittany and Jax, and that is sad because like we know what happens with them now. So we're kind of watching the deterioration of that relationship. And then of course with that Michelle and whatever the other guy's name is, Jesse, who seems like such a horrible person. And I'm not surprised that these two don't make it, but it is still just like, wow, this is real. Like they were going through real issues and we're watching it unfold on camera. And that's kind of crazy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I am enjoying it. I think it would be fun to just like wait like you are and just watch it all. But the only reason why I watch it is just because it's on right after. And I'm just like, well, might as well. And usually I want to see who's on Watch What Happens Live. So I just like take 2.5 hours of my life every Tuesday and watch it. But yeah, that's kind of all that I had to say about that. Did you have any last comments about VPR?
No.
Do you feel like you're enjoying this season?
I don't know.
I know. I feel like now we are getting a little bit more away from the Sandoval stuff, but
I don't know.
I guess I think that you might have a little different a perspective too, because you so recently just watched all the other golden seasons. And I don't think we're ever going to get that back.
Bad. It's just the cast is being really insufferable.
Yeah.
That I think that's more.
But I don't know where we go from.
I know. That's the thing. I don't know what to expect or what I wanted from it. But just, it's like, I don't get what they're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, we've said this before, but like truly, like, I don't know if there's this next season, like what what is
Right.
it going to be like?
Right.
Like, I think it's going to be changed even more based on what we have heard rumblings of at the reunion and how things are now.
know.
It's like,
I feel like they should just put Scheana and Lala on the Valley. Then Ariana could go do something else. And I don't know about Tom's and Katie.
James now. James is like legitimately like DJing like almost every night.
I know. Like, I feel like he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really not
I
on the show.
No, I mean he's there, but he's not entwined in everything.
His emotions are kind of still really like it's just. I think it was too much for him this time. Like, I just think that whole thing, everything that happened and being like publicly humiliated with the breakup or the ending of the engagement, I just think that was like, it's just heavy. He doesn't really seem like his heart's like in the show.
No, he seems more raw than he's willing to admit.
Right.
And yeah, because he has said little bits about how it affected him, but I don't think he even wants to say how much
and
it has.
Right. And then when you're like with somebody new, it's like, and I just feel like when people are like, why is he even still blah, 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 he's moved on. It's like, you could be moved on and still be really hurt by something. It's not that he wants to be back with Rachel or he's not over Rachel, but it could still be a hurtful situation.
Of course.
You could still be sad and happy.
And then it's kind of awkward because he was affected by the affair in a different way. And it's like, well, he can't really even fully say that because then it's like pulling a Scheana and trying to take away from. So it does feel like he just hasn't been able to fully express himself, you know?
Exactly. So,
but
I mean, it'd be sad not to see these people on TV anymore. And I think they're good TV, but I mean, it's just not. But something different has to happen, I guess.
Yeah, and what do you do too? You know, like a show can't just go on forever and ever and ever and ever either. You know, I mean, we've seen a lot of their lives,
right? Especially like in the format of Vanderpump. Like it's not like a Housewives where it's like
we can bring in new people.
And it's like
because they tried that and it didn't work.
Well, and it's like if you're not doing that from the beginning, it's just not going to work either.
Right. We are toying with the idea of seeing DJ James Kennedy in May.
Because he's coming this way.
Yep. And it's not going to be as far away as some of our other ideas.
I know. That's what's so like. Because even if it's in like Columbus, that's like an extra hour.
I know.
Plus
Columbus just I don't like going there either. I know Cleveland just feels so much more attainable for us.
I know. It's like, oh, it's just on the road, even though I'm further.
I know, but
the other way. But I don't know. It just feels like closer. And then I have like family in Cleveland.
I know. I think if we go, would you want to stay the night up there?
I don't know.
Because it doesn't start till 9:30.
Yeah. And I've never actually been to like an event where there's like a legit DJ.
Yeah,
like
I know.
In my head, like I'm like, I don't even know how that like works.
I know. Like we'd be
like
going to a real club. Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I've never been like, you have a DJ at a wedding.
Right.
But it's like a legit
real life DJ. I know. I really think we should go. And it's a Friday. It's not like we have to go in the middle of the week.
Right.
It would be fun to do, I think. And we could just be in the presence of James.
I want to show him my cameo that I had made. You probably don't remember making this, but I'm going to show it to you.
I wonder if he still does cameos.
I don't know.
Probably not.
He's probably too busy.
He's too busy. Every time I look at his Instagram, he's on a flight. Like he is all the time going. Thank God he's not drinking anymore.
I know.
Because I don't think he'd be able to do this.
I know. And he wouldn't be like taken serious. Like he takes it so serious too.
It's kind of, I mean, you can say what you want about James, but he has been wanting to do this.
I know. He used to talk about this for a long time. And then when Sandoval was like, go hit some buttons on your keyboard. He's like,
yeah, thanks, man. Okay, I'll do that. Because it's like at that point, he's like, no, I'm legitimate now.
I know, like I know. I mean, he was at Coachella.
Yeah.
Like, what a huge.
That's a big deal. He's going to be at Stagecoach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is playing.
I know. So really, he could be.
Yeah, this is nothing to like shake a stick at. Like, he is really.
Oh, he could be okay without like the show.
I think he would.
So.
Did you also see that cute little song that they did for like the children? I was like, this is so
You're freaking going
cute.
to like county fairs.
I know. The LA County Book Festival or whatever it was. But that was adorable.
It was pretty cute. I was like, that's so sweet. And he was like so into it.
I know.
Like sometimes I wish when I see like somebody like a James, and I know he's like a guy, but the confidence.
I know.
And just like doing it, like they didn't have to go do this like kid thing, you know, but they went and they did it, and they had, it's like, it was cute.
Well, and it kind of made me feel a little hopeful for James, because I think that Allie will want to like have a family and stuff with him. I just think she probably isn't there yet, and their relationship is still relatively new. But I thought that was kind of sweet, because the last episode we just heard them talk about that, and then now it's like, well, like look, they're doing this children's book thing together. Like they are wanting to be, children focused, and that was just, I thought that was cute.
It was cute.
So anyway, I guess, like I said before, I'm going to recommend that people watch Baby Reindeer. I would say if you haven't watched 13 Reasons Why, or if you have some trauma of your own, then episode 4 probably would get you.
Right.
But for the originals out here who did see the non-edited versions of 13 Reasons, you'll probably be okay.
Right.
And I haven't watched it all yet, but it is very intriguing, and I think it's worth the hype. So that's my recommendation.
I have been on a journey of stain removal.
Oh my gosh, really?
And I've been trying all these different things. And I think I finally figured out how to get old oil stains.
Oh my gosh, tell me, because I have one.
Dawn dish soap.
Okay.
And baking soda.
And do you let it sit?
Yes. So I took a toothbrush. You put it on, you make like a little paste, and then you let it sit.
Okay.
And I think because I had this pair of linen pants that I had like, smushed who even knows what, but it was like this big oil stain. They got washed.
Yeah.
Oil stain didn't come out.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, what do I have to lose? And you couldn't like see it a ton.
But I
knew it was there. And it was just because the pants were darker. But anyways, so I finally took the Dawn dish soap and I put the baking soda on, and
and it came out.
And it got rewashed and it came out.
But that's the thing, is that like you think you're going to be fine if you like steep it and then wash it.
Yes.
But then you're like, well, now it's set in. Yeah. What do I do?
I know. And I've been trying a lot of different things. I don't even know why. It's like,
this is your hobby.
I know. Like, I can get the stain now. So some stuff, like, I'm still working on like getting like stains out of whites.
It's just funny.
I'm working
to say
hard.
I'm
still working on that mixture. But my husband has like these old white shirts that I've been like experimenting on them.
Well, you've got to let us know, because
I know I'll update you when I get the perfect mixture. And I had like 3 different things going. I'm like, if one of them does work, I won't remember what's in it.
It's got to be like an experiment where you write down which ones are which. This is the control. Yes. That's good to know.
I do think that the oil thing, it worked. At least it's worth a try.
Because I do have a similar to what recently happened to Spencer Pratt with his Taylor Swift hoodie. I have a hoodie that's just basic from H&M, but I like it. And I also got a drip of like egg on it, and it was an oil stain. And I think when it happened, I was like hungover, and I was like, I'm not taking care of this right now.
That's the thing. Like, if you don't do it
immediately,
now,
literally, you have to take it off and do it.
And it's like, if you're out somewhere or you don't want to forget change your clothes, you're still cooking or something.
Yeah.
No, so.
Before we wrap up, did you listen to Tortured Poets Department? What are your thoughts?
I like it. There are so many songs though.
Yeah.
That it's been hard to like fully digest them all. So it's going to be probably like a pretty slow process.
Yeah.
But the Florida song with Florence and the Machine and her like actually having Florence sing quite a bit in it was
I love Florence.
I know, it's just that song is like her voice in it. It's like
she is an angel.
I know. And then when they were like, she'd say a verse, or Florence would say a verse, and then Taylor would, and then I was like, oh, it just sounded so good. Like, even, and I don't even know if I even like the song that much, but the voices is just like, like
so
music
nice
to my ears.
Yeah, literally. Were you surprised when it was the double drop?
I was.
I had heard that people thought it was going to be her doing the Taylor's version of Reputation. And then
I've given up hope on Taylor's Reputation.
She's got to do it.
I know she's going to, but I'm not going to listen to anybody telling, oh, well, she's going to release it this day, this day. I'm like, just shut up. I know. I've been burned too many times and I'm still waiting.
Well, I haven't really listened to it, but like you're way more of a Swiftie. So like, but I did, it was funny when it came out last week. 92.5 was like playing the entire album.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And because I was like, I had my class and I got dinner with a friend, and then I went to Ulta and Target. And so I was like in and out of the car. I didn't plug in my phone. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I was in the car for a few minutes and it just went right into the next song. And I'm like, what is going on?
I know. Well, even when I didn't because I ended up going to bed or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I was at work, I just had it like playing, and I'm like, did the album start over yet? Like, I didn't even know
that it did.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, we're still going. And then I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh. So I was like, another one.
What is it, 31?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I know. But I liked the song Love of My Life, or LOML. It was just a pretty song. I mean, it was definitely, I don't know, I'm still digesting it, but
I thought it was interesting. Like it. The one song, I don't even know what it's called, but where she's kind of like almost calling the fans out regarding like the Maddie Healy stuff, and basically just being like, stop talking about my life. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't need your judgment. Say
you're my fan, but then you're just so mean and nasty. And I do think, like, obviously there is that stan culture situation, and it is such a weird situation, because, and even not even just with her, but like with other people, and like how people will switch up on you, how they're out here in the trenches fighting for you. And it's just kind of like, I wonder almost to like, I know the Baby Deer, I don't think it's like celebrity stalker based.
No,
but I feel like that could be like a good like tie-in with that, almost, just like the way people are. Yeah,
because I mean, it brings up what we had talked about before with like the Selena and Hailey stuff, and it's like, how many times did Selena have to say like, enough,
chill
like
out,
stop,
please.
And people still are like,
they still,
Selena and Justin, even though they're both moved on. It's like, you say you're a fan, but you're actually me like hurting them.
And you're being I know, it's such a weird dynamic, but then sometimes it's like a double-edged sword because you need your fans.
Right.
So you cultivate this really good relationship with them.
And Taylor has it so they are so deep.
Right. And like she gives them what they want and
Yeah.
she does this, but then it's like they're also
I know,
almost clinically insane.
Right. And like in a way, you know, not that anybody deserves that kind of behavior, but in a way with like Taylor, or you could put anybody in there, it's like, well, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
Because
That's why I know. That's why it is such like a weird dynamic because or even like when I think Jennifer Lawrence has said one time, she's like, if people ask me for a picture, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk to me. But it's like at the same time, these are the people that are going to watch your movies so you can make billions of dollars. But also you're a real person and you should be able to go out to eat and like not feel scared. And I think they forget too that it's like you feel like you know them, but they've never met you before in their life and you're a stranger.
Yeah. And with almost more so with a musician versus an actor, because if the musician is they're writing these lyrics, and even if they're not writing them, they're singing them, and you think this is their life and you feel like you know all these things, and then Taylor puts in so many Easter eggs and tidbits, and people are dissecting things and things that aren't even true or there, and they're making this stuff up, and her fans really do feel like they are best friends with her.
Even though they've never met. I know it is like it's a weird.
It is weird.
I know. And especially when you're like young and impressionable, or even like the One Directioners were fully.
It was like, they are my boyfriends, like literally.
Like I can even remember like having like crushes when I was like younger on celebrities. So if they'd have a girlfriend, I mean, it would
You'd be a little jealous.
I know, and it'd like break your heart.
Yeah, I know.
Like your heart.
Like with the Jonas Brothers, every time like Joe or Nick were with somebody, you'd be like, oh, but he's supposed to be with me.
I know, but he loves me. I've never met him, but
like if we just met one time,
we'd be in love. Like it would really, or even if you'd see him like kiss a co-worker or like a co-star, you'd be like,
what?
Yeah, like,
a little
so
knife.
Painful.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Like it is crazy just with Taylor, because I mean, it's kind of a dangerous game. And then even with like now her relationship being more public than any of her recent ones have been, it's like, it is scary, you know, like these people. And then with the Maddie Healy stuff, people had such strong opinions.
I know.
It's like, well, thank God she didn't date him for longer.
I know, you guys sort of like, and it's like, you know, sometimes you know, like everybody has a lot to say, but then they're also in a toxic situation.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh.
So it's like you have a lot to say, right? But it's like you have a lot to say about Maddie Healy and a celebrity you don't even know, but then you're like sleeping with the worst person on the planet.
Don't even.
I know, they act like, oh, well, she can't do that because celebrities can't do it, or be with people we don't like, or be with bad boys. It's like, well, you're doing the same thing.
And I can't even say, even though like, you know, I'm not the biggest Swiftie in the world, I do sometimes find that like some of the Easter eggs are like, okay, come on. But I can't, like, she is doing all the right things.
Right.
Like, to build this strong fan base.
Right.
She's doing it right. But, like, then, like you said, double-edged sword, because she almost goes too far with the fans, where then they feel like they're so entwined in her life. And then it starts to, like, actually affect her, like when she went to Margaret Qualley's wedding and everybody was like storming the castle. That was insane.
I know.
So unnecessary.
I know. It's like you also have to, like, it's like you can't even be a guest at the person who literally writes music with you.
I know.
His wedding without the insanity. But it, you know, it's like when we were talking about like Dua Lipa and stuff, it's like, if you're just making random pop music, it's like you're not going to create something like that.
And the longevity of a career. I mean, look at how, Taylor's only a few years older than us, but she's been in the game for so long, and I anticipate that she's going to have a career as long as she wants a career.
Right.
But like with just saying Dua Lipa or even like Sabrina Carpenter as examples, they're probably not going to have that longevity.
Right.
You know, and it's nothing against them. It's just they're kind of flashes in the pop frying pan, if you will. Yeah.
Right. Where there's like not as much personal stuff in there. And then it's like, and if you are, it's also like, oh, so do you be generic or do you actually write things that you are really feeling and that people can relate to? Like, it's just such a like, but then if you do that, then you give them too much. And then, but it's like, I don't know.
And if you give it to them once, then you have to keep giving it to them. Yeah. I know. I'm sure I'll listen at some point. It just really wasn't like priority number one for me. And then once you listen and finally like get it all digested, then you can just relay some information of your theories to me too. So
I know. But I mean, it was definitely, I guess like my overall, it was kind of like fun to like kind of have like a not so reserved like or like PC and you actually hear like an artist not be so PC and like I was having a situationship and it was with a bad person but I didn't care. Like I don't know, sometimes it's just kind of like, and people are like, she's so old to be writing about this. Why though? Like you're telling me 34-year-olds aren't in situational ships? I don't know.
I did think your friends smell like weed and babies was a weird line.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a little, I don't know, it was just kind of like I don't want
like
to say
that was just a
unhinged.
weird way of putting it.
But also it's like, yeah, you do have some friends that are on two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and that's just what she was trying to convey. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it's like the biggest album and the biggest surprise, but anything that she puts out is going to be huge. So I just, like we talked about before, we'll see where she goes with touring for this album, if she will, or if she's just going to...
Well, she's still doing the
I know, but like, will she go right into...
I feel like she...
I hope she doesn't. She needs a break.
Like she's probably... I would think she's probably... I don't know how you can do another tour again after you did an Eras tour.
With just the one album, too. Like, how... Yeah. She should definitely take a break.
Like, I'd be, like, disappointed. Like, I'm going to go to the stadium for one album?
Why?
Boring. I want to stop with them all again.
There's not the fanfare and excitement that there was. I know we're, like, going on about this, but... do you think that the theory that Heather McDonald has that she's going to get engaged in May is true?
I don't know.
I do feel like they might be on a faster track.
They might be. I guess I would guess. I guess I could see them like getting engaged like in the summer something, and then I don't know. Honestly.
On the most recent episode of Juicy Scoop with Spencer Pratt was on, he's like, once they get engaged and have this wedding, you might as well forget about the royals. It'll be over for them. But it is kind of true. Like, can you even imagine? I know.
And then I'm like, what are we gonna get from? Like, were we gonna get pictures? Like,
I don't even know.
It's their
is
like
it gonna
more
be an
public,
open invitation?
Literally, who's who of everything's gonna be there.
I know. That'll be crazy.
I know.
It'll be like back in the day when like Kim and Kanye got married, or Beyonce, Jay-Z, and they had like all the helicopters overhead, people trying to get pictures. Yeah, we haven't had a big wedding like that in a little while.
I know, because they're like, because there aren't any big movie stars.
I know.
There's not too big. It's like Amanda Seyfried gets married like secretly.
Yeah.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds get married secretly. There's no like people
spread. I mean, there is no way she'd be able to get married secretly.
No.
I just don't think it would even be possible.
No.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you give us a follow. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating, please. We'd love to get a few more of those. And then if you have a little extra time, give us a review. And we will see you next week.
Bye.